Today I want to share with you a very beneficial way to approach this journey that I've learned a long time ago. But it's funny how right now it's such a great reminder for myself as I'm going through some very challenging times in my life and just facing very challenging challenges and strong emotions and things like that. And the idea, so in the self-development world and industry, right? It's a beautiful industry and it's very beneficial, but we're always trying to improve and improve and improve. So we tend to be a little hard on ourselves sometimes. Not all of us, not always, but I'm just sharing my perspective, my experience. And the funny thing is that we tend to talk to ourselves in a way that we wouldn't talk to many people, and we tend to be harder on ourselves than we would be on other people. And on the self-love journey, that's a beautiful shift that starts to happen, that we're more gentle with ourselves, more caring, more loving, right? And it's a beautiful shift when you might have been hard on yourself most of your life. I know that some people might watch this and they might maybe even make fun of this approach or things like that, but if you've been hard on yourself most of your life, you'll get why this is so powerful and beneficial and beautiful and amazing. So this is for you. The idea is to always talk to yourself the way you would talk to a 7-year-old in pain. And that might sound weird, but I'll explain why. Think about when the people talk about healing the inner child, right? When we're kids, we're very vulnerable. We look up to adults. We kind of absorb everything that happens. And that's when most of the wounds happen. Many of the wounds happen, right? In the first cycle of life, those first years, when we're growing, developing, learning from our environments. And as we go through life, if we're facing challenges, if we're facing things that might bring up things in us from the past, might trigger some wounds, might bring up things that have happened in the past that we haven't healed, we could look at it from the perspective of like, I just gotta get through this and just be tough, you can handle it. And there's a place for that. Of course there's a place for that. But the other end of the spectrum, and that's why I look at it this way, right? There's a spectrum. You get to decide where, at which time to go. The other idea is to talk to yourself the way you would talk to a kid in pain, right? If a kid comes to you crying, it really touches your heart. And you wouldn't be really hard to that kid. Some people do. Some people are, and that's okay. I'm not gonna go into that right now. But if a kid is in a lot of pain, you wouldn't talk to a kid in a very harsh way. It's a deep topic because of course there's lessons to be learned. But what if we learn that from a more gentle way, right? You don't need to tell yourself like, oh, you created this, so now it's your responsibility, it's your fault. Like there's a place for all of it. I'm not saying anything's wrong, but I just want to share a different perspective with you, right? Especially in the spiritual journey, we tend to be like, oh, you created this, you manifested this. And yeah, maybe there's a part of it. Maybe that's a part of it, but there's also a need for you to be a little more gentle with yourself, a little more loving, more caring. You're already going through something tough. You don't need to add more on top of it. Just be gentle with yourself, be with yourself, show yourself love as you go through it. And then you can, once you get through the hardest part, then you can look at the other parts like, okay, what did we learn from this? How can I move forward? Of course, there's a place for all of it. But I just want to invite you to be gentle with yourself. The other way you could think of it is, if your best friend came to you crying, desperate, how would you talk to her? What would you say? How would you act? What if you can be that way with yourself? Right? If your brother, sister, if another one of your best friends is in deep sadness and depression and ton of anxiety or whatever might be going on, what would you say to him? How would you help him through it? You probably wouldn't be very hard on him or her. You probably wouldn't share just all like harsh, negative things. You'd be gentle, caring, loving, giving. Be there, support them. So I just want to invite you today to see how you can take that approach of how you would talk to other people, how you would approach a situation where someone's going through a challenge, and apply that to yourself, to your own life, when you're going through something very challenging. Because of course this journey has ups and downs. I'm not going to give you, I kind of hate it when people say, oh, you just start loving yourself and everything's fine, right? Everything starts falling into place and you start manifesting the people that this and that, and you start manifesting the opportunities and just everything's going to be perfect. I kind of freaking hate that, because life will keep challenging you. You'll keep having ups and downs and you'll keep stumbling, maybe, right? Maybe not. But I don't want to give you that BS of everything's going to be perfect and you'll be fine. And I'd rather keep it real and just support you in that way. So I just invite you to consider that idea and see if from now on you can incorporate it more and more, right? Be gentle, start slow. Whenever it feels good to you to do it that way, do it that way. If not, use whatever approach feels good to you at the time, whatever resonates with you. I'm just sharing a bunch of ideas with you so you can pick whatever works best, whatever feels good, whatever resonates with you the most. So just let that sink in, think about it, see how it feels, see if you want to consider that, see if you want to explore that idea, try it out, and let me know what happens. Hope you have an amazing, amazing day.